evening and thanks for joining us. I'm Mitchell Ringos. The 17th annual Full Moon Memory Walk was held today to honor the thousands of Indigenous women and girls who have been victimized in Canada. Jessica Clement was there and files this report.
Dozens came out for this year's Memory Walk, keeping in mind the missing and murdered Indigenous women and girls throughout Canada. The group met up at City Hall and held a small ceremony before walking through the streets of Thunder Bay towards the Nebig-McIntyre floodway. The walk takes place every year during the full moon in September. Sharon Johnson, who has organized the walk for 17 years, says they picked the full moon because of its significance to Indigenous women.
We talked about the memorial walk and how we wanted to do it. You know, there was all kinds of different ideas, and the full moon came up because the full moon is a powerful time for Anishinaabe women, and you know that's when we do our ceremonies.
Angeline Andy and her family came down from Grassy River First Nation Reserve to participate in this year's Memory Walk. She says she wanted to walk in honor and memory of her daughter Autumn, who was abducted and killed 4 years ago. She adds that while she feels happy by the amount of support that came out on Saturday, she also feels pain.
Because I'm sure that a lot of these other women, mothers, grandmothers, aunties, sisters, are here for their child or their grandchild or their niece or their mother or their grandmother. It feels really good to have this happening and to have and feel that support that me and my baby are not alone.
Johnson says it's important to hold these events, honoring and raising awareness for missing and murdered Indigenous women, especially because it's something that still happens today.
There's so much that happens, so much violence, and sometimes it's sad to say, but it continues to happen. The violence continues to happen to Indigenous women, to Anishinaabe women all over.
Jessica Clement, TBT News.
And the funeral for Queen Elizabeth will be held on Monday, September 19th, which was declared today a bank holiday. Danielle Hamamjin has the details.
Ancient pageantry on full display. The moment the Queen died, the country and the Commonwealth inherited a king. Still, an elaborate ceremony that's almost as old as the monarchy itself had to make it official.
Prince Charles Philip Arthur George is now, by the death of our late sovereign of happy memory, become our only lawful and rightful liege lord, Charles III.
The meeting held by the Accession Council was televised for the first time in history. Among those present, 6 former British Prime Ministers.
Bless His Majesty with long and happy years to reign over us. God save the King.
God save the King.
Charles III declared king. The reign from one to another is now formal.
My mother's reign was unequaled in its duration, its dedication, and its devotion. I am deeply aware of this great inheritance and of the duties and heavy responsibilities of sovereignty, which have now passed to me. I, Charles III, by the grace of God, of the United Kingdom of Great Britain and Northern Ireland,
the oldest monarch to ascend the throne.
3 cheers for His Majesty the King. Hip, hip! Hooray! Hip, hip! Hooray! Hip, hip! Hooray!
There was more pageantry to follow. More gun salutes fired up and down the country to mark the event. And emerging from the late Queen's Scottish home, members of the royal family, some of whom hadn't reached Balmoral before she died. And emerging from the Windsor estate, together, Princes William and Harry, whose relations have been strained for well over 2 years. Greeting well-wishers, this walkabout was unexpected. An invitation, we're told, by the new heir to the throne to his younger brother and his wife. In death, the Queen has managed to bring her grandsons together. Tomorrow, her body will be moved to Edinburgh, where it will lie in rest before being flown to London on Tuesday. Danielle Hamamjian, CTV News, London.
Local MPP Lise Vaugeois has invited Ontario's Minister of Social Services to join her and 3 other NDP members in living on a disability support budget for the next 2 weeks. On Tuesday, the new Democrat members announced that over a 14-day span, they will only eat what can be purchased for just $47 a week. That's the amount that would be left over for food and people receiving payments for the Ontario Disability Support Program. Bourgeois spoke at Queen's Park later in the week and says ODSP recipients have told her the actual amount after paying rent is less than $47.
Indeed, it is abundantly clear that the government needs to double the rates of ODSP and Ontario Works. Will the Minister of Children, Community and Social Services join us for this 2-week advocacy effort so that she might better understand, even briefly, the hardship that ODSP and OW recipients have to endure in their daily lives?
I have spent decades as a physician assisting people on ODSP, assisting people to get the services that they need. So I have probably a better understanding than most of what people are going through. And I'm very proud of our government's efforts to make sure that our vulnerable are served. That's including the historic investment in ODSP that's never been done before in the history of this program, making sure it's aligned with inflation.
The Ford government recently increased ODSP by 5%, which works out to an additional $58 a month at the most. Canada's unemployment rate was up last month as the highest it's been in 7 months, 5.4% in the month of August, with around 40,000 jobs being lost. But there are still a ton of vacancies out there, and employees are still struggling to fill them. This report might bring back some memories, as CTV's Corey Nordstrom has the details.
COVID-19 forced a backlog in construction projects, so construction firms are busy. But officials say there are fewer available workers now than before the pandemic.
So a lot of our members are struggling to find the skilled trades to take the jobs on, as well as just general laborers to just workers. It's difficult even to a point, to get people to show up every day.
New numbers from StatsCan say the unemployment rate jumped to 5.4% in August. That report highlights construction and education sectors most in need of workers. Employment agencies say they are seeing openings across all areas.
I've been in this field for over 25 years now, and I really have not seen a time where we had so many job postings.
Maley doesn't believe young people are lazy or don't want to work, but she thinks they may now be focused on jobs that are best for their mental health. And with lots of jobs available, workers can afford to be picky.
Employers in general have to look inwardly at their workplace culture, at their training, at their mentorship, and try to see, am I a good fit for the job seeker? Because right now there are more jobs than there are job seekers.
The Construction Association says it's improved its in-house training for prospective workers in the last few years with the creation of the Build This City program.
Give them the introduction to your basic carpentry, plumbing, electrical, at the same time get them all their certifications that an employer would need. So your health and safety certifications, as well as some other specialized certifications.
Another barrier to getting young people interested in the trades is its perception. Booth and Maley both say old stigmas are keeping people away. But they say it's not all dirty work, and there is plenty of opportunity in the sector for various levels of education. Corey Nordstrom, CTV News, Sault Ste. Marie.
Libraries are often known as a place to expand your mind with books, but a special room tucked in the corner of the Fort Frances Public Library is unlocking much more through its Think Hub. The Think Hub is a form of makerspace that was created through a partnership between the library and Science North, which offers visitors the ability to build and discover through the acronym Think, Tinker, Hack, Imagine, Network, and Know. The space includes amenities such as a virtual reality display, high-end computers with various creator-based softwares, sewing equipment, rubber band instruments, and a 3D printer. Library CEO Joan McLean says the space has been very popular and has allowed them to partner with several organizations, including area First Nations.
They wanted for us to make a print so that they could make prints in concrete. So they had to be obtuse rather than inverse. And they actually have done that. On Friday, I went down to Manitou Mounds with the 2 staff members who led the project. And they have poured the concrete and the stamps had actually been used.
McLean hopes to grow the space and bring new elements that will attract even more users. Thunder Bay Rainy River MP Marcus Pulowski was in Sioux Narrows area this past week to announce nearly $3 million in upgrades to First Nations School. Pulowski joined Big Grassy River Chief Lynn Indian and project officials to announce the federal funding for the Pegamigaboo School. The project includes a rooftop solar panel system, high-efficiency windows, and a 200-square-meter expansion to create a new kindergarten classroom and an Ojibwe language classroom.